It's a privilege and an honor to present to you our first speaker, Deacon Tovia Hawkins.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone rejoicing on this great Sabbath day? Praise Yahweh. You may be seated. If you remember last time I spoke, I talked about the skills of leadership. And I want to continue with that, but I want to talk more on the communication level. We talked about some of the things you need to communicate as a leader, but communication is a very important aspect of our everyday lives. Without it, you wouldn't know anything that's going on. So, it's important that we understand how to communicate with each other, because if you can't communicate effectively, then how can you communicate to this world how this peaceful solution works, or how the laws of Yahweh can solve the problems in this world? You can't if you can't communicate effectively. But we have to learn how to communicate effectively among ourselves here first. So, the peaceful solution goes over communication and communicates effectively through leadership, and there's whole chapters on it. And I encourage you to go through the books and find them. Chapter 4 in self-control is a whole chapter on how to communicate with your peers and with people that you're around. But I'm going to do some reading out of the chapter 4 self-control unit, because I think it's important that you get it right out of the book so that you can hear it and really think about what the book is saying. It says, an important part of developing positive moral character is learning how to communicate with self-control. When we interact without self-control, feelings get hurt, people are misunderstood, and conflicts arise. So when we don't communicate with self-control, problems arise. Nations go to war over communication. That's not the only reason, but that's a big part of it. Not communicating their thoughts and feelings and things like that. It says to communicate means to convey knowledge, information, thoughts, or feelings in a way that is satisfactory, received, or understood. The two most common forms are oral and written, and we talked about that last time. For communication to be successful, there must be a speaker and a listener. So someone's giving the information and someone receiving the information. And that's very important, because if there's no one receiving the information, then is there communication? So, it's a two-way street here, and it's got to work both ways for communication to occur. So you can't just say, okay, well, he's communicating with me, so he needs to make sure that I'm listening. But you need to be the one playing your part in the conversation or in the communication process of listening and making sure that you are listening to what's being said. One person must give information, and the other must be willing and able to receive the information. See? Willing and able to receive the information. It says, stop and think about the words you are using. Are they the best words to explain yourself and convey your thoughts and feelings? How you say it and how you look while you're saying it. Stop and think about the tone of voice you are using. Is it a peaceful, non-threatening, or is it hostile, threatening, or aggressive? See? I hope everyone really tries to practice these things, because without communication, there is a lot of problems that come up. Arguments and people fighting, and it could be solved by just practicing this one simple thing here: communication, communicating effectively. In seeing Pastor dealing with communication with problems uprise, and he's the ultimate communicator. He can solve a problem peacefully without any hesitation. He just knows how to solve problems. And if we would really take time and look at how he acts and how he deals with situations, dealing with communication, we could become 613% better. So try to pay attention to how he deals with situation with communication, because I've never seen him not be able to solve a conflict dealing with communication. He can solve them like that. He knows how to solve these problems. So with this, I'm going to turn it over to the great future priest for prayer. Just remember, keep practicing these things. You know, read and study these books because they are vital to your salvation.